One of the biggest mistakes Christian men make is spending more time looking for a wife than preparing to become the kind of man a woman would want to marry. We ask questions like, how do I find the right woman? How do I know she's the one? Maybe the better question is, am I becoming the kind of man who can lead a healthy marriage? Marriage doesn't instantly transform your character. It often reveals the character that's already there. So, if you're impatient now, marriage will reveal it. If you're undisciplined now, marriage will reveal it. And if you're selfish now, you guessed it, marriage will reveal it. So before you marry her, here are 7 things I believe every Christian man should work on before approaching a woman romantically or seriously pursuing marriage. So before we get into the 7 things, I think it's important we understand the dating environment Christian men are navigating today. Because if marriage is the goal for Christian men who want to honor God, we also need to understand today's dating climate so we can navigate it wisely while remaining faithful to God. The dating market isn't the same one our parents grew up in. Years ago, most women met men through school, church, work, or people in their local community. The dating pool was mostly limited to the people that were around them, but today that has completely changed. Social media has expanded how many people meet and evaluate potential partners. Where a woman may have mostly known the men in her town, she can now interact with men across the country or even around the world. She's also exposed to carefully curated versions of people's lives every single day. And listen, whether we like it or not, that has completely changed the dating environment. Now, listen to this. I'm not saying Christian men should compete with the world. I'm not saying Christian men should compete with the world. I'm saying Christian men should become better stewards of everything God has entrusted to them. Your faith, character, bodies, communication, finances, purpose. But some Christians hear that and immediately think I'm telling men to chase women, and I'm not. I'm telling men to faithfully steward the life God has given them. Not because your identity depends on a woman's approval, but because faithful stewardship honors God whether you're single or you're married. And you want to know what's interesting about that? The very things that prepare you to become a better husband also tend to make you a more attractive man. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that's part of God's design, which is why these 7 things are very important. So here's number 1, strengthen your relationship with God. Not because checking spiritual boxes earns you a wife. It doesn't. But because if Christ isn't the foundation of your life while you're single, marriage won't suddenly make him your foundation. Learn to seek God because he's worthy, not because you're hoping he'll reward you with a spouse. So develop spiritual disciplines now, like read scripture, pray consistently, get involved in a healthy church, and serve. Surround yourself with godly men who will challenge you when you're wrong. Because one day, your wife shouldn't have to become your spiritual leader. She should be joining a man who's already pursuing Christ. So start building that foundation now. So the second thing Christian men need to develop is emotional maturity. And emotional maturity isn't pretending you have it all together or you don't struggle. Jesus wept. So I'm not saying Christian men should never cry, but I'm saying that you shouldn't be controlled by your emotions. There's a difference. Can you receive correction without getting defensive? Can you disagree without becoming disrespectful? Can you stay calm when someone misunderstands you? Can you handle stress without taking it out on everyone? One thing I've noticed is that many women value emotional stability. Not perfection, but stability. They want to know that when life gets hard, you won't completely fall apart. One day your wife might be overwhelmed, children might be scared, life may throw something at your family that neither of you expected. And in those moments, they need a man who can feel deeply while remaining steady. This third thing I want to spend some time on, I believe Christian men need to become more financially responsible. Notice I didn't say rich. Money isn't the goal. Stewardship is. As a man, I believe I should be the one to lead my family in every way, and that includes financially. I never want to be in a position where I have to depend on my wife to carry the financial load of our family. Now, I understand life happens. People lose jobs. A medical emergency can happen. There are simply seasons that we can't control. And I'm not talking about those moments, but I'm talking about what I am intentionally preparing for. My goal for my wife is to be in a position where she doesn't have to carry that burden. Now, if she wants to go to work, great. She can go to work, and that's completely fine with me. That's a different conversation. I don't want her to need to because I failed to prepare. So, as a man, learn to budget, learn how to save, avoid unnecessary spending and debt, live below your means. Financial wisdom, however, will not guarantee a healthy marriage, but financial irresponsibility will most definitely create problems that never needed to exist. If you're not making enough money today, don't just complain about it. I had a pastor in Detroit. I used to attend his church. His name was Richard Harris, and he used to always tell me, Sean, do something about it. So I need you to ask yourself, what are you doing today? What can you do today to make more money? What skill can you learn? Can you go get an HVAC certification? Become an electrician? Get a CDL? These trades, welding stuff don't take long to get. Can you start a business? You got sales. The goal isn't to chase money, but to become more valuable. Because generally speaking, the more value you create, the more opportunities you'll have. So you need to invest in yourself now before expecting someone else to build a future with you. All right, number 4, we have to steward our bodies. We can't keep ignoring this. God didn't just give us a spirit. He gave us a spirit, soul, and a body. So why do we put so much emphasis on stewarding the spirit and the soul, yet we neglect the body? Why not steward all 3? Let's get healthy, okay? Get in the gym, become disciplined, build strength. It's okay to take care of your appearance. Practice good hygiene. Some of y'all are making dating much harder than it needs to be because y'all neglect the basics. Brush your teeth, floss, take a shower, wear deodorant, get regular haircuts, and dress with intention, man. These things matter, not because your worth comes from your looks, but because stewardship honors God. And there's another reality I don't think as Christian men we should ignore, okay? Because generally speaking, women are naturally attracted to healthy, fit, well-groomed men, and I'm pretty sure the women can agree with me there. There's nothing unbiblical about that. The Bible never teaches us that attraction is sinful. In fact, throughout scripture, physical beauty and attractiveness are acknowledged as part of God's creation. But for some reason, many Christians have accepted this idea that taking care of your body is vanity. And I don't believe that. Vanity is making your appearance your identity. Stewardship is taking care of what God has entrusted to you. The discipline that it takes to wake up early, go to the gym, eat well, and stay consistent is the same discipline you'll need to stay faithful in a marriage and keep your commitments and lead your family. You're not just building muscle, you're building discipline. Number 5, learn to communicate. One conversation can build trust or destroy it. And as a man, your words carry weight. You need to understand this, so learn to use your words wisely. Say what you mean what you say. Don't expect people to understand you all the time. People can't read your mind. So learn to ask questions before making assumptions. Understand that men and women often communicate differently. Generally speaking, men tend to communicate more direct, while women often communicate more indirect and place a greater emphasis on emotions and relational context. So if you don't learn the differences, you'll often misunderstand each other more than you need to. Don't argue with your woman. Disagreements are normal, but the endless back and forth isn't. It's a toxic environment, and you don't have to match a woman's energy. Stay calm, say what needs to be said, and then let your actions reinforce your words. A man who loses control of his mouth usually loses influence too. Communication isn't about winning, it's about leading. And leadership requires clarity, self-control, and wisdom. Number 6, find your purpose. A man without purpose will eventually make a woman his purpose, and please do not do that. Marriage was never meant to carry the weight of your identity. Your wife shouldn't become the center of your life because Christ should. And the purpose God has given you should continue whether you're single, dating, or married. A wife isn't your mission. She's your partner in the mission. Purpose doesn't mean having every detail of your future figured out. It just means waking up with a direction, knowing what you're building, what you're pursuing, and knowing the kind of man you're becoming, because a man with no direction drifts. And men who drift in their finances, drift in their leadership, drift in their faith, drift in their relationships. Purpose gives you direction. Direction is going to produce discipline. Discipline is going to build leadership, and leadership creates stability. You know what I said about women and stability? Become a man worth following before asking a woman to follow you into the future. And finally, have some self-respect. Respect yourself enough to become the kind of man you're asking God to make you. Maybe you've been rejected, betrayed, been through a painful breakup. Maybe you've experienced divorce like me. Whatever you've been through, don't let it define you. Self-respect means having standards. So don't ignore red flags because a woman's attractive. Don't compromise your convictions just to keep a relationship. Don't chase someone who keeps showing you they don't value you. And don't tolerate disrespect because you're afraid of being alone. Being single is better than being in the wrong relationship. The goal isn't to become a perfect man before marriage. None of us will ever be perfect. The goal is to become a better man than you were yesterday. A man who is growing, a man who is teachable, a man who is disciplined, a man who's faithful, because your future wife won't just experience your strength. She'll experience your habits, discipline, your leadership, communication, your faith and stewardship, your relationship with God. Before you marry her, don't spend all your time asking if she's the right woman. You need to ask, am I becoming the kind of man a godly woman would want to follow? Because marriage doesn't create character, it reveals it. I'm Sean Francis, and this is CMD, Christian Masculine Development for the Modern Dating World. Look, if you made it this far, I want to hear from you. Which one of these 7 areas do you think Christian men struggle with the most? Leave it in the comments below. If this video challenged you in any way, hit the like button, share it with another Christian man, and subscribe to CMD. And remember, becoming a better man isn't vanity, it's stewardship.